to another video, and in this video I'm showing you everything's been added, changed and fixed in Minecraft Snapshot 23w45a. And yes, as you can see, I'm currently standing in the new structure, the trial chambers in Minecraft Java Edition, actually, in the latest snapshot. But not only do we have the new trial chamber structure, we also have the new trial spawner, as you can see here, and also the new breeze mob, along with a new trial key, which we'll get into all of these new features in today's video. This video is a live stream at the same time as well, so that's why there's no editing in this video. And I have to thank Jutta for the nice £2. Thank you. But now let's get into this beautiful and big snapshot. So trial chambers are designed to be challenging moments of combat and exploration hidden medium deep below the surface of the overworld. Trial chambers bring new decorative blocks and lighting blocks, new trial spawners to deliver a different style of multi-mob fights, and the bushy-browed breeze, a new mob specific to trial chambers, which will add quite a bit of chaos to your combats. So that is a whole lot of stuff right there. So let's actually get into those new changes. There's also some other things, but which we'll get into later. But let's first take a look at the breeze, actually. So the breeze, of course, has its own spawn egg, which is nice and purple, actually. And we can summon it in, and there is the breeze right there. So they've added entity models and textures for experimental breeze mob, the breeze, and a wind charge. And there we can see the breeze moving as well, with a lot of particles on the floor. So the breeze is a cunning hostile mob that can spawn via trial spawner in some rooms within the trial chambers. Some of these trial spawners can actually summon in breezes. And the breeze moves primarily by leaping around the target, sometimes jumping quite long distances. And we'll see this in a second. I'll go into survival mode and we'll see how this actually works. So an aggressive adversary, the breeze shoots volatile wind energy in the form of wind charge projectiles at its target. And the wind charges deal a small amount of damage when colliding directly with an entity. So if you get hit, then you will get a small amount of damage. But otherwise you'll just get flung away. And so after colliding with an entity or block, the wind projectiles produce a wind burst, which knocks back entities in the area by several blocks. Wind bursts also have the effect of activating certain blocks, so they can activate non-iron doors and trapdoors, fence gates, buttons, levers, bells, and also lit candles, which can be extinguished. But they do not have an effect on iron doors, iron trapdoors, or any block that is being held in its position by a redstone signal. Alright, but now let's take a look at the breeze itself. So let's first give ourselves some resistance. So we'll give ourselves resistance, because otherwise we might die immediately, which is not something we want right now. And let's do that. So now we have some resistance. Let's get into survival mode and let's actually see what this looks like. We also see that now the trial chamber up there has activated and it spawned in strays. There we go. And if we move over here, this one activates as well. And there's a breeze spawning in from the trial chamber. And we can see the wind charge being blown around. We can see projectiles. You can see me getting pushed into the air very, very high. This is already really, really chaotic. And seems like quite a difficult task to combat all of this. So let's give ourselves a sword and let's actually try. So let's give myself a netherite sword. And as you can see, the dispensers are being activated. There's water in them. And they're actually being activated through the buttons below the dispensers. And so we can indeed try to kill the breeze here. But it's difficult because we also have the strays shooting at us. So it's quite a combat experience here. And of course, currently we have high resistance. But usually we have only your armor to keep you protected. Wow. This is definitely a challenge. I just killed a single stray. Of course, I'm not the best at PvE. But still, this is a challenge for probably most people. And the breeze has quite a lot of health as well, as you can see. We've hit it a couple of times already, but it's still not that yet. And also those wind bursts are definitely getting in the way. And knocking me back quite a lot. You can see the attacking animation of the breeze as well there. And it just jumps after you, and I've hit it many times with an arrow. Yes, okay, that's what's happening. Let's maybe try to hit it with a sword instead. That might go a little better. And there we go, it's dead. But now there's even more breezes to worry about. Of course, these trial spawners are nice because they won't spawn in any more mobs. Oh wow, okay. So once you've killed the breezes that are already there, then you should be good. But still, this can be quite a challenge to go through this room. Also, these rooms in the trial chambers are quite big, and we'll go through the rest of the rooms in a second as well. But there we go, we've gone through the combat with the breeze pretty much right there. Of course, if you want to see what this looks like for yourself, go try out the snapshot and see what the breeze does and how you can fight it. But, okay, I'm full of arrows now. Let's move on. So, apart from the breeze, there's of course also the new trial spawner, which we already saw before a little bit, where it spawns in mobs. And there's also a new item right on that trial spawner right there, because we already defeated the breezes. So, the trial spawner is a new variant of monster spawner that ejects rewards upon completion and can have variable levels of challenge in multiplayer. So, the more people that play in a world, the more rewards you will get from a trial spawner, but also the more mobs that will spawn in from the trial spawner. So, that's how that works. So the challenge level will increase for each new player a trial spawner notices nearby. So it's not if a lot of people are in your server, you suddenly get a lot of mobs. It's only if a lot of people are nearby that it spawns in more mobs. And so the challenge level will not decrease until it is reset during a trial spawner's cooldown. So unlike normal spawners, a trial spawner can spawn a limited number of mobs proportional to its current challenge level. It can only spawn a mob at positions that are within the line of sight. And it can spawn a mob regardless of any light level requirement the mob has. So even if there's lots of light in the trial chamber, like there is right here, with lots of these copper bulbs at the top, it doesn't matter, it will still spawn in mobs. And the spawn mobs are actually persistent, so if you move away from the trial spawners, or from the trial chamber entirely and go back, the mobs will still be there. So once all the mobs are defeated, the trial spawner will eject a set of rewards proportional to the current challenge level. After the rewards have been ejected, the trial spawner goes into a cooldown for 30 minutes, during which it will no longer spawn mobs. So yeah, after you've defeated all the mobs from a trial spawner, so let's get the rest of these strays actually out of here. There's one hiding right here. We will get another reward from the trial spawner. We got some glow berries right there. And if we defeat this one, I assume this one will give us a reward as well. No, there's another mob somewhere. No, there we go. And there's the animation as well. The trial spawner opens up and it shoots out a reward. And now it will be on cooldown for 30 minutes. So it's quite a long time, and then afterwards it will have a new mob being spawned in. So trial spawners cannot be crafted nor obtained by players in survival. Instead they can be found only naturally placed throughout the trial chambers. So you can't mine them with silk touch or anything like that. They will stay here. If you mine them, they will just break. And they're also very slow to mine. So if we try to mine one of these in survival mode, let's grab a pickaxe. Another pickaxe, and let's go into survival mode. Try to mine this, and we'll see that it goes very, very, very slow. And it takes a very long time for you to actually break it. So you don't accidentally break this trial spawner when going around and getting other blocks around the trial spawner. That's very, very useful. And of course, there we have some glow berries as well, which is one of the rewards. But you also can get diamonds, emeralds, and other kinds of items as well, including this trial key. And so when placed in creative, these trial spawners have no mob type set by default. So you can place them down, but there will be no mobs inside of them. The mob type can be interacted with, can be set by interacting with it while holding a spawn egg. So if we hold a breeze spawn egg and right click it, we can actually make it into a breeze trial spawner. Now this is actually different, because here we can actually see the breeze inside of the trial spawner, which is not what was happening with the ones we saw here before. But now you can see there's a breeze in there. We can also put other mobs in there. Let's say we put a cow in there maybe. Does that work? Yes, we can also put a cow in a trial spawner. And so now we go into survival mode. They will spawn in and get that nice animation. And there we see a breeze. And, well, the cows are not spawning in, which sort of makes sense, because they're not supposed to spawn in cows. And also there's no grass here, so that's a requirement for cows to be able to spawn. And also we can see that the breeze is now hitting all these buttons, with the dispensers with arrows and also the ones with water in them. Alright, and creative and spectator players cannot be detected or noticed by trial spawners. Yeah, so as we saw before, when we were in creative mode, the trial spawners did not activate. And only when we went into survival mode, they activated. So that is how that works. Now, as for these trial keys, we can pick them up and look at them. So there's this trial key here, which can drop from the trial spawner. However, currently it doesn't have any functionality yet, but they will add this functionality soon, is what they're saying. It can stack up to 64 keys, as you can see right there. But there's pretty much nothing here just yet. This will be added in a future snapshot. And who knows, maybe there's an extra secret room that's in this trial chamber, which you can only open with this key. Or maybe there's a certain chest you can only open with this key, because there's also a chest here with some loot. We can see a crossbow with piercing 2 and an iron axe with unbreaking 3 and efficiency 3. But yeah, for that we have to wait until a future snapshot to see what those trial keys are about. But for now, let's actually go over these trial chambers, the structure we are currently in. What is this structure about? What does it actually look like? So trial chambers are a new structure in the overworld where players can explore and take on combat challenges during the mid-game. They are made of a variety of copper and tuff blocks and can be found in different sizes from large to small. They are relatively common find throughout the Deepslate layer of the underground. And let's actually take a closer look at this trial chamber, going into spectator mode and looking at it from the outside. So as you can see, we're in the Deepslate layer, and this is what this trial chamber here looks like. So there's actually many different rooms, including this very big room over here, the room we were just in at the top here. And there's another one of those big rooms here as well, with an extra part down here. So it can generate and can become quite large, as you can see. One of the largest structures in the game. And so the layout of the trial chamber is procedurally generated and can include traps, reward chests, and a variety of combat spaces. And so supply chests can be found between different rooms and can give you blocks and items which help you navigate the trial chambers. So you can see that here, this is one of those supply chests. So let's take a look, and well, okay, that doesn't really help. That's not a lot of blocks, but there are some extra arrows for you if you need them. And there's also a little bit of extra food for you to go and use before you get into that big room. There's another potion of regeneration here as well, and some more food as well. But you can also find blocks in these types of chests, is what they are saying. Let's see if we find another one of those rooms. There's actually one room over here, which looks like it's actually sort of blocked off. That's probably not supposed to happen. But there's a bed in here as well, so you can set your spawn if you want. And there's some extra armor here, horse armor and a quick charge bow, for you to replenish your items if you lose any during a fight. So let's see if we can find any more of those rooms. I think there's also another room with a couple more beds in here somewhere that I spotted before. Let's see if I can still see that. Yes, it's all the way at the back over here. There it is. So there's some more stuff up here. There's a door leading into this small room. With it, once again, you can set your bed. Multiple people can set their bed. There's some nice colors. And there's also a barrel with some more food here as well. So quite a lot of stuff within this trial chamber. So reward chests are guarded by challenges in each room and can be a source of many high-level enchanted books and equipment. So yeah, the chests in these rooms can have some very useful stuff in them. There's even a diamond chestplate here with unbreaking 3 and protection 3. That is great loot. There's emeralds, golden horse armor, and also some iron helmets here. But this diamond chestplate, that is amazing. Great loot for an overworld structure. And let's check this room out as well. Let's see if there's another chest in here. There doesn't appear to be. Maybe at the back here. Nope. Just a room leading into another room, but that room did not generate. Yeah, I'm not seeing any chests in this room, so this room might not be too useful to go into. Also not seeing any chests inside of the pillars there. So let's take a look at one more chest in, for example, this room right here. There's quite a lot of chests here. And this is basically just some basic loot. This is not the reward chest, definitely not. But this one might be. There's some nice loot up here with more high-level enchanted items. Also an amethyst geode definitely generated inside of here. And there's also a nice tree if you need some extra wood. So that can be useful as well. And this looks like the corridor of the trial chambers. There's some blocks here as well. There's also some pots here. We can check and see if there's any items in them actually. Yes, there's an arrow in that decorated pot right there. So you can also find pots inside of the corridor of this structure, where you will be able to find some extra items as well. There's this barrel and even more barrels, some ender pearls even, and some extra blocks. So that could be really useful as well. More blocks, torches. Just useful items you will need when exploring this structure. And so what they are saying is that the loot they currently have in those reward chests is still to be iterated upon. So those are not final just yet and could be changed in the future. Alright, then each trial chamber will include trial spawners with a melee, small melee or ranged category. So trial chambers or trial spawners can have a melee category, so it's zombie, husks, or slimes. Small melee, which is spiders, cave spiders, baby zombies, or silverfish. A baby zombie trial spawner sounds awful, but let's see what happens there. And then the ranged trial spawners are skeletons, strays, skeletons with poison-tipped arrows. Wow, poison-tipped arrows. That's amazing. Then each trial spawner category will only use one mob for the entire structure when generated, and these mobs are randomized for each trial chamber. So for example, one trial chamber might spawn with zombies, cave spiders, and strays, while others might spawn with slimes, silverfish, and skeletons. So there's 3 types of those trial spawners in each one of these trial chambers, where one of them has a melee, one of them has a small melee, and one of them has ranged. And so the exceptions to this are some trial spawners in unique rooms which always spawn breezes, as we saw before. And so there are some known issues. So the corridors sometimes end in a dead end, and aquifers, lush caves, and skulk veins sometimes intersect with the trial chamber, and also the empty geode which we saw before. And so all the copper in this trial chamber is actually waxed copper. So you can see that all of this is waxed, except for these copper bulbs. They are not waxed, and so will degrade over time. So the light in the trial chambers will dim over time. So if you find it later, then it will be a lot darker in these trial chambers. But these blocks over here are all waxed that make up the different parts of the trial chamber. Alright, let's actually take a look at a different trial chamber, because we've only looked at one so far. And we want to get a scale of how big these trial chambers are in general. So this is what this one looks like. It is actually quite large. Let's teleport further away and let's search for another trial chamber. So we'll go 10,000, 10,000, and we'll locate the structure trial chambers, like this. And there we go, there's one very close by. That's also what I saw before. So especially these trial chambers can generate quite often in your world. And so here is another one. This one is also very, very large, actually. There's also this room with even 2 chests in them. Let's see if there's some nice loot in this chest. Fortune 1 and Fortune 2. That's not too bad. And in here, an iron axe, an iron boots, an enchanted golden apple. Look at that. That's amazing. And also some iron horse armor. So that is what this trial chamber looks like. There's this other room again with the 4 beds. And there's the massive corridor here, which we saw before as well. And we also saw it during Minecraft Live. But you can see that there are some standard rooms, like this one. We've seen this one before as well. And this is different. There's a room with a whole lot of snow in it. So I'm guessing this will probably spawn in strays. Let's see. Nope, that's definitely skeletons. Ah, but you get this frost effect if you land on the floor, because this is actually not regular snow. It's actually the powdered snow. It's actually powdered snow. So that makes fighting in this room actually a whole lot more difficult. That's an interesting idea. And so yeah, of course, there's even more rooms. There's this room as well, which I don't think we've seen before. But again, this is quite a large structure. This is a new room as well, which is sort of like a weaving and bobbing room. Look at this. You have to like build up to these different sections to get to the different parts of the room. There's also some trapdoors in this room as well, which means that the mobs can actually not leave this part. So yeah, quite interesting room here, especially if you have to fight the breeze in here. That's going to be quite a challenge. So that is the trial chamber, the trial spawner, and the breeze. The trial key, as I said, will do more stuff in future snapshots. Then there are also some other smaller changes in this snapshot as well. So monster spawners will now render their interfaces when looking inside. And the data pack version is now 24, the resource pack version is 21. And there's also a whole lot of bug fixes in this snapshot as well. So you can read through the full patch notes. I'll leave them in the description down below if you want to check them out. But that is it for Minecraft Snapshot 23w45a. If you enjoyed the video, then please subscribe!